Joe, did you get a confirmation that we're good? We are. Thank you. I see it now, popped up. All right. Welcome everyone to Lake Shores Board of Education regular meeting, January 25th, 2021. If you would please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Ms. Munger, can we get a roll call, please?
All are present.
Thank you. And agenda item number 4 is audience participation, but we've confirmed we do not have anyone registered to speak this evening. So we'll jump right in with agenda item number 5, the superintendent's report with Dr. DePonio.
Thank you. Just want to kind of catch everyone up to speed in terms of where we're at and opportunities and challenges that we will face in the coming weeks and months. And kind of the work that we're doing with our staff and with the community to see how far we can advance here safely and sustainably. So we've been, you know, as you're aware, and we continue to provide updates, we're constantly looking at information and data from the Macomb County Health Department and the CDC and Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to assess risk level and the spread of COVID-19, both in Macomb County as well as throughout the state. Looking very closely at the vaccination and our staff's ability to be vaccinated, and of course, class sizes and our ability to socially distance. So in the past week and a half, we've re-engaged our committees that worked this summer to put together our safety protocols, our instructional supports, our social emotional work, asking them to evaluate where we're at, and if we were to combine cohorts at some point down the road, what would we need to do in order to keep people safe and to do so successfully and without taking a step backwards. The discussion of this has raised concerns amongst staff and families. There are people that still have obvious concerns about the impact on social distancing and what that might mean. In certain cases, we have 6, 7 students in a particular classroom, while 6 or 7 students are operating in the hybrid virtual realm. But we have other classes that are a little bit larger, and when you combine those two cohorts, the A and B cohort, it does put class sizes in an area that is going to really stress our ability to socially distance. And so we look at other locations that we might be able to place those classes, but without getting too far ahead, really at this particular point, we want to gather some information and go through all of our protocols to see what's possible moving down the road. If risk levels continue to drop, and they've declined over the past several weeks, really since November, we've had a sustained decline in cases both in Macomb County, in Lakeshore Public Schools, St. Clair Shores, and in the state of Michigan. But we start a new semester February the 1st. So coming up, we gave our families an option that if they wanted to switch to virtual, they could switch to virtual. If they wanted to switch to in-person, they could do that. And most of that movement has taken place. I would suspect over the next week or so, and maybe into the new semester, there's going to be people that might change their mind. And of course, we're going to do our best to accommodate those requests without putting more stress on social distancing and class sizes, but honoring the wishes of our families to get their kids into the best learning situation possible. So February 1st, we start with a new semester. And so that's going to present some new class sizes. It's going to create some shifts and some changes. And while we work through that, we also have committees taking a look at the impact of these new class sizes. And if we were to combine those cohorts, what would classes look like? When we look at functions throughout the building, what would that look like? Taking kids to lunch. If you recall, at our elementary level, kids currently are eating in the classrooms. They really are limited in their mobility throughout the building, and they maintain a structure within their cohorts. There's not a whole lot of interaction between cohorts or other classes throughout the day. We are looking at, how do we reinstitute specials at the elementary level? There's a variety of things that we have to work through and make certain that that it doesn't pose an elevated risk level to our staff. All the while, and obviously to our students, all the while, we are looking at the limited availability of our staff to have access to the vaccination. In our weekly briefings from the health department, they're ready to go in terms of distribution of the vaccination, but they don't have the doses that they need to work their way through the population that wants to get it. Simply put, the supply far exceeds the demand at this particular point. They were anticipating a large shipment of vaccination, and we'll find out Wednesday where exactly that they're at. Some of our staff have begun to receive the vaccination. So all this being said, we're working towards the combining of cohorts, but we're not ready to present that to the board at this particular time. There's still some work to be done, and of course we also need the continued decrease of risk levels, both in the percent positive and the level of cases per 100,000. So I just want to share a couple quick things with the board in regards to where we're at. So I'm gonna hop over to sharing the screen, and at this particular point, you should be able to see this COVID summary for Macomb County. And so, Sharon, is this appearing to you?
I see it, Joe.
Okay, all right, thank you. So just a quick look at this. If we were to look at this particular graph in terms of the school year, we started about September the 7th, a little bit back over in this direction. We were sailing along, very well at the start of the school year, learning our way, learning a great deal, testing our safety protocols, and we went from 4 days a week of quarter classes, a half day. We advanced those and combined the groups so that each group was getting 2 full days of instruction and working remotely on the other 3 days of the week. And then, at that particular point, we started to think that there was a possibility, sometime after the first trimester of advancing and providing additional in-person instruction time. And then, of course, the fall surge occurred, peaking at a little over 1,000 cases a day right around Thanksgiving. And now we've been on a steady decline since then. Our risk levels continue to drop. You can see that. Let me get back to Macomb County here. So you see our risk level is dropping in both new cases per 100,000 and percent positive. The sustained days that we've been at these particular risk levels. And if you look again at the MySafeStart map, you see the same thing. We're moving in the right direction. There's no question. But all of this really comes down to where we're at locally. Actually, before I switch off of these charts, are there any questions regarding COVID levels for the county? Okay. If there's not, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that and I'll hop back there. So anyways, where we're at right now and what our goal and what we hope to achieve is collectively utilizing the voice of our staff, utilizing the voice of our families to work through what we would need to do in order to combine cohorts. We've given a target date of coming up with these answers, around midwinter break. So we're talking mid-February. That does not mean that we're looking to combine cohorts at that particular time, but we want to have all of the answers in place, especially now that we've got our second semester groupings together. We know what our numbers are going to look like for the second semester, and we can start planning. There are some class size issues that we have to work out at the high school level and at certain elementary classrooms. But again, we're gonna work collectively. We're gonna work through these issues, and hopefully we can be prepared so that when the time is right, vaccinations are more readily available. COVID risk levels continue to maintain at a declining rate, and that we've addressed these class size issues as well as the other things that need to take place within a school, that we can combine those cohorts and move forward from there. I know for a certain, for all of us, we want to be further along the road here, getting closer to normal than where we're at. And in a lot of cases, we're further ahead than where others currently are. And I know that there's a constant measurement of where we're at to what others are doing, and we're ahead, we're behind, they're doing this, we're doing this. We really need to do what is best for our kids and for Lakeshore and for our staff. And of course, that involves making sure that everybody has a voice and a seat at the table to have these discussions about what concerns need to be addressed so that we can continue to move forward. I also wanted to make mention of the latest health order that extends until February the 21st, most particularly what impacts our student athletes for winter sports. As you might be aware, there's been some changes in the health order, but one of the changes that impacts our kids is with the extension of this health order until February the 21st, that our kids that participate in hockey, boys and girls basketball, wrestling, and competitive cheer are prohibited from competing until February the 21st. February the 21st usually is about when the winter sports are wrapping their seasons up. As we have worked tirelessly, and when I say we, I mean most of the credit here goes to our staff and our families to get us along the way here. As our team of Shoreans have worked tirelessly to offer in-person instruction and make things work, I feel compelled to speak out that that we have to figure out a way to make this work for our student athletes as well. For all of our kids that participate in these things that create lifelong memories and things that can't be taken lightly, we have to figure out a way to make it work. So I'll be speaking with a variety of people in the coming days to advocate for the safe return of winter sports. Again, not at all costs, but for us to be able to do it and do it safely and in a controlled fashion so that these kids do get an opportunity to participate and compete, and for some of them in their final year as high school athletes. And so, that's kind of where we're at right now. Our goal is to combine cohorts. We want to do it taking a look at where our risk levels are at. We want to make sure that class sizes are addressed and they're that they're balanced and that they're reduced so that we can get as close to 6-foot social distancing as possible, and that our staff moves along with their ability to be vaccinated. if they so choose. And with that, I'll open this up to any questions that the board might have.
All right. Anybody have questions for Dr. DePonio?
I don't necessarily have questions, but just a couple comments. I have typically been the one on this board that is the most hesitant towards in-person instruction. And, so Dr. DePonio and I spoke at length earlier this week or sometime last week. Time stands still now, so I'm not sure when we spoke, but we did speak at length. And there were a couple of key things that really led me to believe that, I do feel that we can manage this return to a full in-person instruction safely. The first is that there is quite a bit of data out there and an objective CDC report that states that at a macro level, like there's not a significant difference in positivity and in cases. As long as other safety protocols like masks and disinfection and things like that, as long as you're doing things responsibly, there doesn't tend to be a heightened level of COVID cases associated with schools having full cohort size. And we've also seen that with comparable districts in the area that have been full in person, even in the previous states of having a higher COVID rate in general. Even in those instances, there's still parity between the COVID case rates of us being hybrid and other districts that were being full cohort in person. And so I do think that there is a way we can do this safely, and I think we're taking a measured approach, and we're getting input, from the right people in restarting these committees and working with folks on how to do this safely and smartly. So as someone that has tended to want to push the all virtual, limit the number of people in the building, I do just want to say that I support that goal. I think we're doing it the right way, and I think there is a way to do it safely. The one, I guess, word of caution that I would say is that I think in a lot of ways, I think we're sorry, my automatic cat feeder is going off in the background, but I think in a lot of ways, I think our education and our pedagogy and our curriculum might not necessarily be, as we've navigated through this pandemic and being hybrid, at the same pace and fortitude that it might have always been. And I just want to caution that, returning to full-time in-person, I worry that if pedagogically that means we return to full speed instruction, that our kids are just going to be overwhelmed. I think our students are just struggling to get by as it is. And if the workload and the expectations and the educational pace increases any further, I worry about the burden on our kids. And I think also of our kids having been socially isolated for so long. I personally, I may not be an educator myself, but I don't see anything wrong if our kids spend the first 20 minutes of every class chit-chatting, just simply because they've been so isolated. And so that focus on the social emotional component, that focus on the social connectivity, that's my one worry, is I don't want us to flag bringing everyone back in person as we're going to go from one speed to another, or that we're going to kick the expectations up a notch, because I think our kids right now just need social emotional support. They need connectivity. And I think getting them into the classroom so they have that face-to-face support, they have that focused school time is going to be a really big thing for them. And I just want to make sure that we're not getting a little too overzealous in that, and then ended up, overwhelming our kids even further, because everyone's mental health and energy is just kind of lagging. So those are my couple pieces of input. But Dr. DePonio, I think you've done a fantastic job leading us through this next exploratory phase of, setting up the process for how we're going to figure this out. And I thank you and our administrators, and just give a shout out to the folks that are serving on these committees and giving us that input, because we really couldn't do it without them. And, I think we're going to take it day by day and figure out a good plan, and we got the right people involved, and I'm very optimistic for that. So that's all I have.
Josh, if I could just comment a couple quick things about some of the stuff that you said. So when it comes to recovery from this, we have mentioned already on a number of occasions that the race and the push to get kids back up to speed is probably about the worst way that we could re-engage kids on a regular basis. And the social emotional aspect and the humanity of what's occurred here really, again, needs to be at the forefront. Every child in America has been set back. Every child in the world has been set back. So in terms of being behind, it's really somewhat of a sliding scale. And when we talked about going back to January last, when we had a giant staff meeting and we talked about reimagining learning, one of the concepts that we talked about is that content is a ubiquitous thing. It's everywhere. You don't need school for content. You can grab content from anywhere. And in our own learning, I think we realize that we learn content for the purpose of testing, and then once the testing is completed, we jettison the content unless we use it and need it in our daily lives. But the thing that we constantly need are skills and development of skills. And of course, at the younger levels, it's that much more critical when we're talking about things like reading skills. Mathematical skills, certainly, I could make some arguments that technology can fill some of those things. And I don't want to, raise the ire of the math teachers out there that might be watching tonight. I'm not saying that they can be replaced. They certainly can. So let me just say that again, math teachers can't be replaced by technology. We'll replay that a couple times. So, but that skill development is something that needs to occur. There's no question. And so I've asked Rochelle to launch here in the coming weeks some recovery opportunities for our families that they could take part in. And so what we'd be looking at is activities that, how do you get caught up? You either work twice as fast or you work twice as long. I mean, you can't really do much more than that. And so we're going to look at time outside of the traditional school day for families that are interested. Nothing's mandatory, but if you want your child to be involved in some opportunities to advance skills or get caught up, or if you're feeling like they really were impacted severely by this, which all kids have been impacted by this, there's no question, that they could do it after school or perhaps, on Saturdays. We don't want to wait until the summer. If we know we need some remediation and recovery now, then we're not going to wait until the summer to get started. And so you can look for that stuff to be coming out and those opportunities to come out here down the road. And we're hopeful that people will take advantage of it. But again, if they don't, that's okay too, because we're gonna take kids, as we always have, where they're at, and we're gonna move them forward. And just Josh, to go back to some of the things that you said about the combination of cohorts. We're at a beginning stage with this. I know some of the anxiety that staff shared with this, some families had with our discussion about combining cohorts. I think there was concern that we have established a date and that's when it's going to happen. And obviously the board will be presented with a recommendation at some point for when we combine those cohorts, and ultimately the board will make that decision. But we won't recommend that to you until we feel that we're in a pretty good place in terms of addressing the concerns that we see both with our families and with our staff, and obviously keeping a very close eye on where we're at in terms of the presence of the virus here in Macomb County.
All right, I would like to say I support quite a bit, Josh, of what you said and the transition that you feel yourself in between, a month or two back and where we're heading. A couple of things, though, is that I keep trying to sway away from what kids have not done during this time towards some things that they have done. And so we know that some problem solving skills and some tech skills and a bunch of different characteristics. I think of the Positivity Project and some of the work going on, and the most recent one I looked at was supporting others when they struggle. I know that there's a lot of that type of work and growth taking place, that it just seems almost surreal that we're going to have the opportunity to have worked on those skills and then need them so greatly when we're in this transition period. So while I understand that we may not have had the same amount of time on specific subject matter or in the same style that we would have had it in prior years, there's some amazing things that we have had that we never would have had without the challenge of this pandemic. I'm just so incredibly proud of what's going on in Lakeshore Schools and the way that we have handled this and continue to handle it, that I don't want that to be lost with the, comparison to just what normal used to look like. So with that, anybody else have any comments or questions for Dr. DePonio?
I just have a comment, Joe. You mentioned about the sports and really trying to advocate for them to take place. I really feel for the basketball and the wrestling and all those sports. I mean, bowling was allowed to begin, and I'm telling you, the kids are so happy to be out and having something to do and be on the lanes. So anything you can do to try to have the remaining winter sports take place, even if it has to be a shortened season like we're doing, just anything to get them back out there, because it really helps boost their morale. But just being around other people, they're following all the protocols, they're wearing the masks, we're not doing the high fives. It's hard not to, we got to remember not to, but I think it's really important for them to, be able to do that. So I really hope that they can start, and anything you can do to help promote that would be great for these kids.
All right. Anyone else before we move on?
Yeah. Michigan High School is really trying really hard to get back with these sports and trying to figure it out. The MHSAA. So, I get updates all the time from them, and they're really pushing to get these winter sports in. So they're trying.
All right. We're going to move on to agenda item 6A, actually, celebrations for Board of Education appreciation. Again, Dr. DePonio.
Well, hopefully you were able to get paid a little bit of a visit today. Traditionally we try and make this moment as special as we possibly can for the Board of Education. This year in particular, the challenges for public education it's unprecedented, and our school board has persevered through the adversity of 2020 and right here through 2021, and you guys have had tough decisions to make to provide our kids with the best education possible. And so this month is one of the small ways that we can express our appreciation for all you do. School board members represent the views and priorities of the community in a very complex system of maintaining and running district's public schools. They reinforce the principle of local control over public education, which is important and highly valued in the aspect of education in the state of Michigan. And even though we're making a special effort this January to show our appreciation to the school board members, we recognize their contributions really reflect a year-round effort on their part. And so no matter the challenges that lay ahead for our District 2021, our school board members will continue to govern and improve the student achievement and really making sure that this community has the best opportunity for our kids to receive an exceptional education. Personally, I can't thank you guys enough for modeling for for everybody. How we can have differing viewpoints and put those viewpoints aside for the benefit of the organization, that we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. And while each and every person here has specific interests and at times differences of opinion, you show how you can have a difference of opinion without losing your minds on one another. And for that, I am exceptionally thankful. Each and every one of you, goes above and beyond. And, on behalf of the staff, the students, our community, thank you so much for serving this community, and for the Lakeshore grads to come back and serve Lakeshore is, to me, a wonderful thing, and something to emulate. So happy Board Appreciation Month. And I hope that you really feel how much you're cared for, because we certainly appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if everyone was home for those visits today, but I was definitely surprised. Yeah, my normal wardrobe for work is dramatically different these days. So I'm not sure if I was more surprised or the students that came to my door. But very, very thoughtful, very sweet too. Everybody needs, we don't do it for a pat on the back, but a pat on the back every now and then feels good for anybody doing whatever service they're providing. So that was very thoughtful. We do appreciate that. Anybody else want to speak to that before we move on?
Just say thank you. It was very nice and well appreciated. Even if they did startle me and I came to the door like a grumbly old man, was knocking. It was a very, very sweet thing, very nice gesture, and just much appreciated.
All right. Okay. With that, then we will move on to agenda item 7, which is items for action, and we'll start with agenda item 7A, the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Pelling.
Support DeLong.
All right, thank you. Any comments, questions? I just have one actually, and I'm not sure that it can even be answered on the spot, but any thought that we know of about changing the requirements for public notice? I just saw it's not a huge dollar amount, but the dollar amount for publicizing the public hearing. And, at certain times we're required to put those notifications in the newspaper. And now that there's so many other ways of publishing that information, I just wondered if there's been any discussion of eliminating the required newspaper printing.
No, there's been no discussion.
Fair enough. It just seems like it's getting a little bit old school and archaic, and we could probably do it better and cheaper. But I know it's not our call at this point. Okay. Liz, did you have something you wanted to add there?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I thought I saw a wave. Okay, unless there's no further questions or comments, then we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
Mrs. Bartle,
Aye.
Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mr. Densler,
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye, and Mr. Colling.
Aye.
All right. So we are on 7B, the personnel report with Dr. Lewis, please.
Move to approve the following personnel report. Move to accept the resignation of Amanda Allison, lunchroom monitor at Masonic Heights Elementary, effective December 14th, 2020. Lori Mason, GSRP associate, Masonic Heights, resignation effective January 4th, 2021. Aaron Sweezy, parking lot monitor, Masonic Heights Elementary, resignation effective January 4th, 2021. Also move to accept the employment of Diane Lapari, lunchroom monitor at Rogers Elementary, effective January 12th, 2021, classification A, step 1. And from the Lakeshore Federation of Teachers, move to accept the employment of Deborah Krussman, secondary Spanish teacher at Lakeshore High School, effective January 21st, 2021, Class MA, Step 1.
All right, can I get a motion, please?
So moved, moved by DeLong.
Support Ziegler.
All right, any comments or questions? All right, Mrs. Munger, roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Bartle,
Aye.
Mr. Colling,
Aye.
Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mr. Densler,
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
and Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
All right. And I'm not sure who we have online or watching this evening, but I want to say thank you to Amanda, Lori, and Aaron for their contributions to Lakeshore, and a warm welcome to Diane and Deborah. You know, a warm welcome on a Zoom meeting doesn't really feel all that warm, but for now, it's the best we can do. And when we're permitted to do this in person, we certainly will. And I know we all look forward to visiting you and seeing you in your classrooms and welcoming you officially and properly. So, all right. We will do agenda item 7C, which is the confirmation of the COVID-19 learning plan for the 2021 school year by Ms. Weinkoop.
I am just pulling that up here so we can see that. Motion to approve the reconfirmation of the COVID preparedness and response plan as presented. There are no changes to the instructional delivery. We have several options at all the levels, and that will continue. As far as the two-way communication report, 3 out of the 4 reporting windows were 91% for a district average. I do want to note that at week 15, where it says 83%, that is another one of those just weird pupil accounting weeks where we actually were only in session with students for 3 days. That was the last 3 days before the Christmas winter break. So even in that short window, 83% of our students had two-way communications with their teachers at that time.
Excellent. All right. Any questions for Ms. Weinkoop? Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Support.
Support.
All right. I think I heard Mr. Densler and Mr. Colling first. All right. And a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mrs. Bartle,
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
Mr. Colling,
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
and Mr. Densler.
Aye.
All right. And we'll move to 7D, School of Choice recommendation. Dr. DePonio.
Thank you. Move to approve Lakeshore Public Schools participation in the Schools of Choice program for students residing in Macomb County. Schools of Choice application period shall be open from February 1st, 2021 through September 10th, 2021.
So moved.
Support. Colling.
All right. That was Mrs. DeLong and Mr. Colling. And I know there's just a correction of a typo because this will feed into our minutes, but Shannon, you probably, yeah, she nods. She's already seen it. Okay, thank you. All right, any comments or questions?
Just to clarify, we're proposing no changes to the current school of choice policy.
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right, there being no other, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Colling,
Aye.
Mr. Densler,
Aye.
Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
and Mrs. Bartle.
Aye. All right, thank you. Moving on to standing items in section 8, we'll do board commentary, and let's start with Mrs. DeLong.
Well, first of all, happy Board Appreciation Day to my colleagues. It's wonderful to serve with all of you, and that was a very nice surprise when I came home from a very hectic day to see that on my front porch. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate everything that the district does for the students, for the staff, for everyone. It's great to be back on the bowling lanes and to see the kids. It's not quite the season we're used to, but they're out there, they're bowling, and I'm just getting a good feeling about the teams this year. They're very excited to be out there and they're working hard. So that's all I really have. I hope everybody, if you have to travel tomorrow, stay safe with the snow coming. I know I'll be driving to Troy, so think of me in the morning. And that's it. I hope everybody has a good evening.
All right. And how about Mr. Conley?
Sure. So I was also very surprised today while I was working from home, as I have for about the past year, and turned around to a knock at the door and saw a school bus right in front of my house and 2 Lakeshore kids on the porch. And of course, I'm in my work from home, get up sweatpants and all that, as I have been. So it was a really nice gesture and appreciate that, of course. My first thought is that while we appreciate it, it's always so unnecessary because, none of us do this for the recognition. It's all for our students and for our teachers and our staff. And I'm just so, honored and humbled to be a part of this team. And it makes it really easy when you know that you can trust, you can put your faith in our administration and all of our teachers and all of our staff, that everyone's doing everything they can for the benefit of our students. So appreciate all of you. And I just want to leave a good note from the foundation, actually, who's still doing great work despite the challenges of this pandemic. Of course, they've had to cancel all of the in-person events that we all enjoy and attend every single year, and which really raises the bulk of the money for the foundation, which of course gives such fantastic grants to our teachers to provide for their students and do innovative things. But Jack and I were speaking today, and the foundation actually broke a record in payroll deduction donations this year, raised over $14,000, which of course is from our staff, going right back into the classroom, again, to benefit students. So it's really just a wonderful gesture from our staff to continue to contribute to that really important cause. And of course, the foundation is still giving out grants despite all of the challenges. So just wanted to put that out there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you all have a great night.
All right. Mrs. Thomas August.
I just wanted to say I was very appreciative for the surprise gifts left on my front porch from the administration or whoever dropped it off. It was a nice surprise and kind of brought a smile to my day after a tough day at work. And I want to say thank you to Mrs. Ryan's class, who did a virtual thank you on their virtual meeting today. That was really cute. So good job, Mrs. Ryan's class. And I just wanted to extend the spirit of appreciation for all the Lakeshore Public Schools staff members. I was thinking about the food service, who was probably standing outside in the cold, providing meals today, and probably will get colder in the next couple of weeks. So I wanted to appreciate them, and possibly buildings and grounds tomorrow for having to shovel and make sure walkways are clear and everything like that. So I wanted to extend the appreciation to those members tonight. So.
All right. Mr. Densler.
I'll just quickly again say thank you for the recognition, and just like Mrs. DeLong said, just express my appreciation for the team we have here. This is really an exceptional board to be a part of. And I feel like most of us are putting on our smiley faces, but most of the recognition I think makes us want to run and hide because we just we don't want the spotlight, and I think we would in a heartbeat just continue to turn this recognition around, like Miss Thomas back onto our staff. And with that, I do want to clarify one of the things I said earlier, and I didn't want to come across as though we weren't doing value added things with our students, because we absolutely 100% are. We are doing amazing things in our buildings and virtually with our students. It's just not what we're typically used to. It's not the levels of content. It's the skills. It's not the memorization and the testing and the projects. It's the social emotional wellness, and it's pieces that really like Mrs. Bartle said. There's skills and things that I think we've been working to instill, and that we've just amped up and stepped up and done a great job of living out this year. And so when I say that, when I say my comments about increasing the pace of content, please, I hope no one hears that I feel that we're not doing wonderful things, because we are. It's just not the time and pace of content material as it usually is. It's been some other really great things. And with that, I do just want to give a special shout out to our hybrid teachers, because I served on Jessica Chauvin's adulting panel. She did a panel for her adulting class, and I just realized how absolutely uncharming high school students find my sense of humor. And I am consistently reminded whenever I am in a building of how awful of a teacher I would be. There's a reason I'm on the board. And especially when I look at our hybrid teachers, I don't know how any of our teachers do any type of instruction in any form, but then to take that and divide it up and deliver it in multiple ways to different types of students, to go from a traditional kind of, in-person model of education to the pause and then the virtual stuff that we did last year, to then ramp that up into a new type of virtual, and then toggling back and forth between virtual and hybrid and all of these different things. All of our teachers are rock stars and superstars. But our hybrid teachers have to have literal superpowers. You had to have walked into some gamma radiation and turned into the Hulk at some point, because just the work that you're doing to manage that particular dynamic of classroom, that particular type of pedagogy, and what it looks like to navigate that across all of the different complications of our age groups. I really just want to give a special shout out to our hybrid teachers, because it's been a hard year for everyone. There's been a lot of back and forth on that, and just with the different things going on in the state and the changing conditions, and you all have just done us so absolutely proud. You're continuing to make life-changing impacts on our kids, and I just really want to recognize you, say thank you, say for our hybrid teachers and all of our staff, just keep up the good work. I know it feels like the school year is already 4 years long, but we're getting through it. We're making a difference. We're making an impact. We're being light into the world and light to our kids. And we just got to take it day by day and just got to keep going. So thank you to everyone. That's all that I have. Have a great rest of your January. And maybe later we'll talk Dr. DePonio into giving you a snow day tomorrow. Who knows?
All right. Mrs. Munger.
That's maybe how many retweets do you put something out there? How many retweets do they need to do? Just kidding. But I was where I was at most days I've been at during this pandemic. I was at the bank, and I happened to take just a moment to have a little break and scroll through my Facebook feed, and there I saw Sharon's picture of her sign on the lawn. So I was so excited to come home and see the sign and see our little package on the dining room table for me. I can't wait to take my my school calendar to work. It's so cute, and it'll fit just perfect on my desk at work. So thank you for the appreciation. As Josh has said, I think all of us are people who we do this because we want to put the spotlight on others. We want to put the spotlight on our district that we love so much, and we do it because we love our district. We want our district to shine. So we do the work for that reason. And so thank you again for the appreciation. Josh did a lot, but as a hybrid mom of a hybrid kid, going through our first semester as a hybrid family, I can't imagine what it's like to be a teacher. It's just absolutely, our online teachers are amazing. And I've only heard such great things about our online teachers, but they only had to do it one way. Our hybrid teachers had to do it two ways. They had to do it in face and then also online. So while all of our teachers are amazing, our hybrid teachers do need some appreciation and a pat on the back. And it's funny you said it feels like it's been 4 years. Yeah, I guess it does kind of feel like it's been 4 years going with a senior hybrid student. So not only is the senioritis already set in, but the hybrid on top of it. But it brings me back to Lakeshore is so wonderful because not only is it about his grades and what his grades are, but it's who he is. And it's from that village of a family of Shorian Nation that makes, when he goes to colleges, he stands out. He is polite. He's honest. He's funny. He's funny, Josh. He would probably get your jokes. And those things that he stands out to colleges and to coaches. We were able to, as a football mom, we were able to have our season. He was able to get seen by recruits. He was able to get recruited. We're working with a variety of colleges who are just impressed with this Shorian. So my heart does break for those senior family basketball players and wrestlers who, how are they going to get the opportunity to show and shine the Shorian that they are? So I do hope that there is some time to spotlight them so that they are able to make these connections to have more opportunities going forward from their home of Lakeshore. So with that being said, thank you. And I hope there isn't a snow day tomorrow. But I'm actually kind of excited for some snow as long as we can drive. That's all I want. But anyway, thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right, Mr. Ziegler, you're up.
Well, everybody pretty much said it all. Josh, you said a lot there. I agree. It's a team effort, and we love doing it. I love working with all you guys. And again, I've heard nothing but good things about the hybrid teachers and the online learning from many parents. So they are doing an outstanding job. I want to thank everybody for the recognition, even though, like everybody said, it's a team effort. We all do it, and we have a great staff and very appreciative of everybody. So everybody have a good January, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.
All right. And for me, I too have some comments about instruction, both from home and from hybrid. Obviously, it's a year like no other. Everybody already knows that. We've already heard it. This is the time of year when they start with the, what words do we want to retire from the prior year? I have a long list this year of words that I'd like to see retired. And thoughts in general, topics in general, a bunch of things that I would love to just scratch off the plate forever going forward. But obviously we can't do all of that, but I did have a few key words about hybrid versus other terms of instruction. And at some point we'll get to hear from our teachers with that retrospect on how we manage this. And, God forbid we ever have to manage something as dramatic as this, but regardless, we can learn great lessons from how we managed this together and how they managed it individually within their own classes. But I think what it comes down to, I use the word juggling. Juggling as a hybrid teacher is different. So yeah, the plate was already full, and then we asked you to juggle those plates too. So I am certainly aware of that's increasingly more difficult. I don't even want to say I'm aware of how difficult it is, because I'm quite certain that I don't actually comprehend that challenge. I'm proud of our staff that stepped up for it and is doing it so well, but I know that I don't fully comprehend what those days are like. I know what my days are like. They're different and not nearly as dramatic as the differences that I can witness as a board member and certainly an outsider to the classroom. So, you know, the effort of all teachers, but especially the hybrid teachers with the juggling, showing up every day despite your own feelings of where you are, and I say where you are in terms of evaluating risk, because I think each day I find myself in a different place. One day I'm feeling like we've got this and put on my mask and wash my hands, and I can go to the grocery store or, you know, to my office when necessary with a certain level of comfort. And then the next time I go, that comfort level may not have been as high. I can't really explain that. It just simply is. And so I'm certain that our staff is going through the same thing. And regardless of what those internal feelings are, and even on days when they're conflicted, you're showing up, and you're showing up for our kids and our families and our community. And there's no way that I can say thank you in a loud enough and sincere enough way to get through the feeling that we have about our teachers showing up. So there's been a little bit on social media or in your public circles, wherever you're out and about, and hear about people talking. And I hear about being daycare. We are not daycare. And I don't even want to go to that as a remote possibility of anybody's intent. Parents, yes, have issues with that, as they've had their lives have been turned upside down as well. But we're not there for daycare. We are there because there are needs and we deliver value. And I'm like, get a little choked up. There are needs and we deliver value. You deliver value. So I know it's Board Member Appreciation Month. Somehow that feels so small compared to the appreciation that I'm trying to convey for our staff today. Okay. And let's go a little bit lighter with the topic. So yes, sitting in my office working from home today, it was hard to not notice the sound of the school bus. It didn't sound like the Amazon trucks that I'm used to seeing daily. So it was super sweet. I got, I guess, a little bit excited about it because I opened my package and I pretty much ripped through it, including the one that was addressed to my husband. So thank you very much for noticing our spouses, because they do keep us available to do what we want to do for the district, and they are supportive. And it was very thoughtful to include our spouses in it. And I gave it to him after I opened it. Okay. I did actually write a few words for my board members. So because I'm always afraid I'm going to miss something, I'm going to go with my script. So I do want to thank our students, our families, our staff, administration, and community for the opportunity to serve on the Board of Education. The pride I have for this district is so much more a reflection of all of you rather than that of the current board members. I'd also like to thank my peers on the board for their dedication and focus on students. From the more senior members to our newest, everyone continues to learn and seek information to make better informed decisions, all in the best interest of our students. Thank you so much for giving of your time and talent. I appreciate each and every one of you. And with that, we're going to move on to agenda item 9, which is a call for a closed session to discuss negotiations. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Support.
All right, I think I got Ms. DeLong and Mr. Ziegler on that one. Okay, and a roll call vote, please.
Oh. Hang on.
No problem.
Okay, Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mrs. Bartle,
Aye.
Mr. Colling,
Aye.
Mr. Densler,
Aye.
and Mrs. Thomas August.
Aye.
All right. With that, I think anyone that may choose to drop off at this point, we will go into closed session. Will obviously not be publicized, and then we will return from closed session Right now, that would be on the agenda as return from closed session and adjournment. So I don't expect any other action items, just so the public is aware of that. But you are welcome to stay tuned, and we'll be back after the closed session. And for those of us that are staying, let's take like just a 3-minute break and we'll be right back at it. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Andrew, Brian, if you guys can hear me, are we live? Can we proceed here?
It's not live yet.
All right.
Good.
It's okay. This is the stillest I've been all day
Yeah.
long.
We are on.
Just everybody take a breath and relax for a minute.
George, did you say we're on? Oh, we're back on? Yes? Okay.
Confirmed. Okay, thank you. All right, so we are coming out of closed session, and I need a motion from the board to reconvene in open session.
So moved. DeLong.
Support Munger.
All right, thank you. And we'll do a roll call vote again, Ms. Munger.
Mrs. Bartle,
Aye.
Mr. Densler,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mr. Colling,
Aye.
and Mrs. Munger, aye.
All right, with that, unless anybody has any comments to add, last chance. All right, we'll take a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved. Support.
All right, I know I heard Mr. Colling and Mrs. DeLong. All right, this time we won't do a roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your.
Good night,
support.
everyone.
Have a great
Good night.
night.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, board appreciation.
You're wrong. Thank you.
Where? Oh, there it is.